Hello everyone. I will try to make this brief, but I want to show you a little overview about this week and point out a couple things on some of the assignments. So first off, here is week 7, and these are your assignments that are due June 5th, as you can notice right there. And these are the ones that are due by the weekend. So this assignment here, this assignment here, I think I have that open, gathering preparation. Here we go. That's this assignment. And here's the rubric for it. It's a pretty simple rubric. And essentially, you're going to go to the assignment 2.3 part A, problem number 4, which is right here. And this is telling you to create this table here. It's not highlighting. Anyways, create this table from problem 1 in a spreadsheet formula. So you're going to create these 4 columns. You're going to put a title at the top of each one, length, and then width, perimeter, area. Fill in all of these numbers as they're given to you, and then use the formulas to fill in these ones. So you would click in here. So for area is length times width. So you're going to click into the cell in Excel, and you're going to say equals, click on the length, and then say the star button, or the asterisk, and then click on the width, and then press enter, and it will do the calculation for you. And then you can just drag that formula down. I'll show you that here in just a minute. And the same thing with perimeter. Perimeter is the 2 times length plus 2 times width, right? So then you can just say equals 2, and then the asterisk, because that denotes times. So 2 times, click on the length, and say plus 2 times, click on the width, enter. It does the calculation for you, and drag that down. So that is that assignment, and you're going to turn that in. And again, this is the rubric for it. It's simple. You just fill out that table, which it's already started for you. Another thing that I wanted to point out was that we have, I'll come back to the budget assignment, an exam this week, exam 2. Here it is. I believe it is 25 questions, and it is closed book and closed note. So don't use any notes other than the formula sheet that's provided for you. Although, please don't get it from here. Go ahead and click on the announcements and find the announcement that says Exam 2 Formula Sheet Correction. Click on that one. And then here is a link that you can download this. This is the sheet that's provided for you. And you can use this on the exam, on exam 2. So I still suggest that you try to do the problems on your own first, and then use this to verify that you're using the right formulas. But that'll make it go quicker if you're doing it that way. If you have to look up the formula every time you want to use it, then it'll be a lot slower going. So you can use this. But please get it from here, because I believe they haven't corrected it yet. I don't think. I think that this one includes an incorrect formula on one of them. And I don't remember which one off the top of my head. Remember that you need to score above a 75%. And if you score less than 75%, you are required to retake the exam. And that goes for all the exams in the class except for the final. So if you score less than 75%, that's okay. Just let me know and talk to either myself or a tutor, and then let me know when you're done with that, and I will open it back up and you can retake it again. If you do score above a 75, but you still want to retake it and get an even higher score, then go ahead. Let me know and I'll open it back up for you, and you can just retake it. So. And it will, by the way, it will record your highest score. Now, when you do retake the exam, it might mark it as late, and I just have to go back and mark it as not late, so it doesn't penalize your grade. And if you notice that if that happened and I didn't catch it, then just bring it to my attention so that I can make that correction, because sometimes I don't notice when you retook the exam, because it doesn't ask me to grade something, it just automatically grades that, so I may not even notice that you finished the retake yet. Okay, so that's the exam. If you have any questions on it, please let me know. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was this budget assignment that we're turning in again. And so each week that we turn it in, we're basically just building on the previous week or the previous time that we turned it in. So, let me pull it up here somewhere. Here it is. So first off, if you were to click on the assignment, this is what comes up. Here is a couple of optional resources that teach you about how to use spreadsheets and stuff. First thing I want to mention is that here, if you scroll down a little bit, is the grading rubric, and I follow this to a T as close as I can, because that's what helps me keep it fair for everybody. If I end up being a little bit lenient on one person in a certain category, but then I follow the rubric for another person, then it ends up feeling not fair to somebody. And so please, before you turn in your assignment, just go over this rubric and make sure that it hits all of these categories right here. Just go through and read them all. You should be using a spreadsheet. It should not be a .numbers file, because that's an Apple, a Mac software, and I have access to no Macs. So I have no way to open that and even see if there's anything in there. For all I know, it could be a blank assignment. I'm not accusing anybody, I'm just saying I have no way to verify and to grade it. So please don't submit a .numbers file. If you don't have Microsoft Office, you should go get it, because in one of the first announcements, I told you how to get it, and when you're a Pathway student, you get it for free. So I recommend going to take advantage of that. You should be tracking all your income and expenses, and I'll show you in a minute. You should also be using a budget. This is new for this week on your assignment. Some of you have been using the sum function, and I have suggested to everybody that you should have totals, and so many of you may have received that suggestion, but this week it's a requirement that you should have totals and you should be using the sum function. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And then this says that it should be well organized, easy to read, and include appropriate labels. So I'm just going to go over to this sample. It's just a sample budget I typed up real quick. You should have a title. You should have your categories should have labels here, and that's what these 2 points are for. Okay. You should have a budget, and you should also be tracking actual stuff. So all your budgeted amounts should be filled in. And Haley?
Dad?
And I apologize. Those were my daughters bursting into the room because they were playing hide and seek or something. But you should be you should have everything. You should have numbers in all of the budgeted column. And so this is just saying you expect you're going to get $4,000 salary over the month. And so you put that in there. Maybe it's my birthday and I expect somebody told me they were going to give me $100. Maybe I do a little bit of babysitting. And so I think maybe I'm going to get around $50. I don't know for sure, but that's my best guess. And then as I receive those things, my birthday happens, I get $100. I put it there. I babysat, and instead of I didn't really, this is pretend, but let's say I babysat twice, and I thought I was going to get 25 each time, and they gave me 35 each time. That's okay. So I record the actual amount. Here, each time I got my paycheck, I recorded $2,000, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the total. I'm going to total it up. Well, here's the totals that you should have. And I'm going to teach you how to use the sum function too. That's what I did here. If you say equals sum, and then inside parentheses, you select the boxes you want. An easier way to do it than typing you can just say, you don't even have to type anything. You just click on the box where you want the total to be, and then you click this button right here, which is the sum button. And then just select all of the cells that you want it to add up. So I'm going to select all the way to here, press enter, and there it is. So that's just adding up everything from this month in that row. And so I can click on it, and there's this little tiny green box in the corner there. When I hover over it or get really close to it, then my cursor changes to that black plus. I'm going to click and just drag it down, and that copies the formula into these ones. So now you can see my budgeted numbers, you can see my actual numbers. I actually made a little bit more babysitting than I thought I would. I can do the same thing with this total. So I'm going to click on the box where I want my total to be. I'm going to click on the sum function button, and in this case it kind of guesses at where you want the range of cells that you want it to add up, and in this case it's right, so I'm just going to press enter. Then I'm going to do that same thing here, and I'm just going to drag it over, and it copies that over. So now this is what, when I go back to the rubric here, added totals and sum function, okay? So 4 points for each of those. Whoops. So the fact that I've added the totals here gives me 4 points automatically. Even if I did this wrong, I've added the totals and I got 4 points. The fact that I did it and it's adding correctly gives me another 4 points. So you get 4 points for adding the totals, and you get 4 points for the sum function working. So I can do the same thing here. Again, I'm just going to select the box where I want my total, go up and click on the sum function button. So this time it's guessing that I wanted to go up to here, because then the next one up is a blank box. So I'm just going to hover over this corner, and I'm going to drag it up just a little bit more, because I want it to include, that box too. Press enter, and it worked. Then I'll copy that over like this. Okay, so now I have a sum function that's adding up all my budgeted and actual for all my expense categories. Expenses and income. Now the reason I haven't put anything yet in my tithing budgeted is because you don't have to do this, but I like to. I like to just go to my tithing, instead of trying to calculate the number and then type in the number, I just say equals 0.1 of this. That didn't work. Sorry. Equals 0.1 times this. There. And if you're not paying a full 10% of your income, then obviously that wouldn't work and you would type in the number. But I'm planning on paying 10% of all my income, and so I can say 10% of that number is my tithing. So that's what I did. For my actual, I did not do that, because for my actual, see, I'm actually adding up the real amounts that I really paid. So, I mean, if it so happened that I'm going to delete a couple here. If it happened to be that I missed paying my tithing for a little bit, well then my actual is not really going to be what my budget was. The actual is what I actually paid in tithing. Okay. And then down here this is not a requirement, but I like to put it income less than expense, income less expense. So equals my income minus my total expenses. That, and I'm going to drag that box over too. And what this says is this is how much income is left after all my expenses. What I do with that is, so this on my budget column, I shouldn't have any income left after my expenses, right? Because one of my expenses is savings. So anything that's left here should really go in savings. So that's why I left this one open too. I wanted to find out how much I had left to put in savings, and then in my budget, I'm going to say $977.39. That's how much I plan to go in savings, and there should be nothing left there. So that's how I like to do that. Again, this